Welcome to the Reality Hunt Club. In this episode, we're going to talk about how we get ready for turkey season. Now, in the state of Georgia, turkey season starts the 26th of March and runs to the 15th of May. And in Georgia, you're allowed to kill 3 mature gobblers. Now, the first thing we do in our preparation is get our trail cameras out there. Now, in the previous episode, I talked about doing the end of the year trail camera survey. Well, this actually is not only for deer, it's also to kick off our scouting season for turkeys. Now, after we get through with the survey, we'll take some of the cameras, we'll move them around to some of the known spots like the food plots and the roosting areas where the turkeys like to visit. Then around the 1st of March, we'll take those cameras and we'll put them in some of these strut zones that we know that we'll start getting them and start seeing what kind of behavior the birds are showing and what kind of pattern we can do. We also use plot watcher cameras. Now, these cameras I've talked about in the past, they're time-lapse cameras. You can put them in large areas such as fields and power lines, and they'll take pictures in certain intervals during the day. We set ours on 10 seconds. So these areas help us pattern birds, where they're coming in the fields, where they're leaving the power lines, and so on like that. They can be very handy for figuring out the pattern of turkeys. And then, you know, we use our trail cameras like we do for deer. We use them to scout. I don't think a lot of hunters use the trail cameras to find valuable information on turkeys. And we leverage our trail cameras, and you know, those trail cameras, they're sitting there hunting 24/7, especially during daylight hours, and they can just give us some of the best information. A lot of people call it MRI, which is most recent information. When you get to a hunting area, you can go in there and you can pull that card out and you can see where those turkeys, what areas and what fields, or what power line right-of-ways, or wherever they're liking to frequent. And we just can use that information to help us get ready for turkey hunting. Now let me show you some trail camera photos that we've gotten. Now here's some gobblers in one of our food plots. Nice gobblers. Some of these birds are 2 years old, some of them are 3-year-olds. Now here's a roosting area. Sorry about the blur on the spot. It had some moisture on the camera. This is very close to where they like to roost. You can see where they've been scratching around. Here's the turkeys in another food plot that we have. He's got a real skinny beard. I guess he looks wet. Once again, look at the spurs. These are nice birds here. Really, really nice birds. All right, this is a plot watcher. If you see them, you see the birds come in at the top, and you see how they feed down, and you watch them just lull around. These plot watchers, you know, having that time lapse feature is just amazing. You can really study and see what kind of habits they have. Here they come out. They're just lulling around. This allowed us to figure out where we want to set our tent up by the way they come in and they go out of these food plots. These are just a few trail camera photos and time lapse. Now if you look way down at the end of the lane, you see them come out. Now here they come. That's just so cool. I really enjoy using these plot watchers. Another thing we like to do is we like to get up before daybreak and we go out into the woods and we find us a good vantage point where we can hear pretty good distance, and we will sit there and we will listen for turkeys to gobble. Now that helps us identify where the turkeys are roosting, so when the turkey season opens up, that gives us a good starting point to set up initially and then move around there. We also like to drive around or ride the golf carts or just sneak up into areas that we know turkeys like to get frequent during the day. You know, just go out into these fields and just strut around and just loaf around after they fed their first feeding. And this just gives us more information to put together to get us ready for turkey hunting. We've got all our information together. We're going to pull out our Google Earth and we're going to work on our strategy. Now we have 5 locations that we figured they were roosting. This is the first one. This is called the Fire Tower location. And you can see there from our photos, we'd gotten that one. Now this one's actually behind our property, that one. This is one that we call the Circle 8 roosting location. You can see where we plan on putting the tent in that one. This is the Ridge location. This is a very popular spot that we always get turkeys on. And finally, this one has moved a little bit because they thinned some pines. This one is the Middlegate location, and we figured that those birds are going down that logging deck right there. As you can see, we're zooming out, and you see all 5 of the locations and all 5 of the tent locations. All right, now that we put our information on Google Earth and it makes sense, and we figure out where we want to put our tents up, we proceed to put out our tents 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. Even though turkeys aren't really nervous about tents, but just in case, we have the time, go ahead and put them out and put them in these key locations and try to catch them going to roost or coming off the roost first thing in the morning. And we like to use these real nice tents to where a couple people can sit. And here's some videos of us trying to put the tents up, even though it looks more humorous than educational. Another thing we do is we go out and shoot our shotguns, and just to make sure the shotguns are still working right, the patterns are right. We owe that to the turkeys to make sure we get a good, clean, ethical kill. Here we are shooting our shotguns. Next, I want to go over what we put in our turkey vest. We start off with a turkey vest. I like to take 3 or 4 box calls, a slate, a gobble call, some locators such as owl, crow calls. And then next, I take my binoculars and rangefinder and of course a GPS unit. Then you always worried about your bug control, such as take the thermocell when you're stationary and the bug spray when you're moving around. Here's some of the essentials, shells, water, gloves, head nets, batteries. I like to take goggles on those windy days when the sand and dust gets up in the air. It's pretty impressive when you look at all the stuff that you carry in your turkey vest once you take it out and lay it out. Now, the final thing we like to take is our Hazel Creek decoys. And as you can see, we really like our Hazel Creek decoys. And we've killed 14, 15 birds over in the last 2 years we've used them. And here's some videos of us in our encounters with these birds that we killed, and a couple of them we missed. And as you can see, the decoys just drive them nuts. So this is what we do to get ready for turkey season, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And thank you for watching Reality Hunt Club. And hopefully stay tuned, and we'll knock some more gobblers down this year, and we'll bring that to you as we get the videos produced and filmed. And if you're out there turkey hunting, good luck in your season. And once again, thank you for watching Reality Hunt Club.